All right. Welcome to the United Matters channel. How are you guys and where are you watching us from? This story has been making rounds and I think I've done like one or two stories about it, but this time around I've gone ahead obviously come up with a very huge update. To Napoli I did it, to Chelsea I haven't gone ahead obviously to do anything, but looks like Chelsea are really in queue to obviously come up and obviously make an offer that is imminent. That is the first bid or opening offer to the club of Manchester United, and United are hesitant that if any team does not obviously get in 60 million pounds, then they are not letting this guy go. I think it's between 60 to 63 million pounds because they are calling in for 70 million euros. And this is the third video of the day, and hope we keep up this pace that we broadcast on a daily as far as all this is really concerned. Let's see close to 300 smiles on the video. Continue to subscribe because we want to hit 20,200 subscribers. Lower right bottom corner is the place to be. Smash the black button that has the word subscribe. After smashing it, hit the notification bell. That will enable you to get notified every time I upload a video onto this beautiful channel of ours. So that is it, and it's Fabrizio Romano coming up and obviously telling us that Chelsea are set to approach Man United for Alejandro Garnacho as expected. Napoli remain keen, but no agreement at 50 million package rejected by Man United. Now, also working on a Adeyemi deal as revealed. Chelsea spoke to players camp and will now discuss with Man United, meaning that Alejandro Garnacho has gone ahead obviously give this Chelsea a go to obviously go ahead and discuss with Manchester United, meaning that personal terms are not a problem, because if Chelsea have gone ahead to speak to the players camp and they've now gone ahead to be given green light by the player to talk to the club, then that is really more important about this. So Alejandro Garnacho, first and foremost, Napoli was the first team to show intent to sign him, and all they could offer was 50 million euros, and United wanted 70 million euros. I told you, in 70 million euros, United can sign 7 players, because they can show that we've gone ahead to get in a profit of 70 million euros, and they can use that amount of money to bring in a player, and the initial deposit is 10 million euros, and they can obviously balance it off for the next years until the contract of these players really run down. United rejected the bid from Napoli. It will be remembered that Antonio Conte had gone ahead to speak to the president of Napoli. You understand? Sorry, to the coach of Napoli. Antonio Conte had gone ahead to speak to Alejandro Garnacho, and Garnacho was excited and wanted to obviously move to Napoli. But Chelsea have come in and obviously interjected a little bit because their player was banned. That is, Mikhailo Modric was banned for so long, and they felt like they need a player in Alejandro Garnacho to come up and do the job. Now, we also had another story coming in through from an outlet known as Uriel Lugate, and he told us that Chelsea have prepared their offer for Alejandro Garnacho and will submit it in the next few hours. You understand? So after him letting us know, Fabrizio Romano has come up and told us that Chelsea and Alejandro Garnacho official approach plus formal bid to follow as reported earlier. Man United insist on 70 million fee, not easy one, but Chelsea plan to try. So Chelsea are like, we will plan to obviously get this done and dusted. And I think United, if they sell Garnacho to Chelsea for 70 million euros, that means they would have gone ahead obviously get close to 100 million euros from Chelsea into players. That is Garnacho and Jadon Sancho. You get? So United is adamant, we are getting you Garnacho at only 70 million euros, non-negotiable. You understand? Because they know they are selling a hot asset. And I've gone ahead to see one of the stories trending on X that if Garnacho was at Barcelona, he would have gone ahead to have a 1 billion release clause. That if Garnacho was at Spurs, they would have gone ahead to sell him for 100 million euros. If he was at Borussia Dortmund, they would have wanted to sell him for like 120 million euros. If he was at which other team? You know, they've mentioned at Brighton, they would have wanted to sell him like 120 million. I know it's right, but the problem at Manchester United is they need to sell to buy. That is it. Even last season, he saw to it that even last summer, we required to obviously lay off some players, and then we obviously had to see to it that all goes on well as planned. Remember players we laid off: Hannibal, then Alvaro Fernandez, all Carreras, you know, all those were homegrown players. Cambuala was a homegrown player, and to get in the likes of Zexi first, you understand, Man United had to obviously see to it that they obviously sell off this player, you know, known as Cambuala. To get in Zexi and Leniero first, they had to obviously see that Cambuala and Alvaro Fernandez had to leave to the side of Benfica. You understand? So it is the same thing that you're going to do to sell these expensive homegrown players. I think if Rashford deal had materialized early enough, I think United wouldn't have gone ahead to sell Alejandro Garnacho, because it's one of the things that it's not in their normal doing. Because even the Glazers that we've gone ahead to criticize a lot, they never did this. And what the Glazers did was to obviously come up with a plan that sort of either they kept homegrown talented players. But Ineos has come up and failed to support these homegrown players. So I think this is where Ineos is failing. You understand? They are failing, and I tell you what, it's one of those moments that are really tricky for the club of Manchester United, especially the manager, but we are trying to see how things are really going to be panning out for Alejandro Garnacho to Manchester United. Ruben Amorim asked about Alejandro Garnacho leaving. This is what he told us. Let's focus on the game. I don't want to talk about that, especially before the game. So, looks like he'll give us a very proper insight about Alejandro Garnacho's future after the game of Rangers tonight. And Chelsea, I think they want to obviously intervene immediately to see that maybe Alejandro Garnacho doesn't play the game of football today. Because if he plays today and gets injured, then they'll have to look out for some other player different. Yet, he's one of the proven players in the Premier League that they feel like they have to obviously sign and obviously make that bond with Enzo Fernandez at Chelsea, as all those players will be coming in through from Argentina. So I understand the situation for Manchester United, but it's really very alarming that we are letting players like Alejandro Garnacho go, and players like Casemiro cannot be sold, players like Rashford cannot be sold, Lindelof cannot be sold. They are here and they're really piling up our space. Even Anthony hasn't left, because yesterday we were seeing him in training ahead of this game of the UEFA Europa League against Rangers today. So we have to focus a lot on this game of football tonight and see whether Alejandro Garnacho really shows up. If at all Alejandro Garnacho doesn't make it to the squad, that will be a clear message to us that the club has gone ahead obviously agree something with Chelsea or Napoli to see that the player really doesn't really play or get injured. So we are waiting to see how that pans out. That's what I had for you about Alejandro Garnacho to Chelsea bid. Imminent. It's coming in through, and guess what? It's one of those bids that might surpass that of Napoli. Because if you're Chelsea and you know to it that Napoli put in a bid of 50 million euros and it got rejected because the two parties were 20 million euros apart, then you at least bring in a 60 million euro bid and see whether United obviously take it on or not. Most cases, the first bids are always rejected. You saw to it that yesterday, the first bid for Patrick Dogu was rejected by the side of Lecce, and it was submitted by Man United, and they told them, please, it's not enough to obviously give you green light to take away this youngster known as Patrick Dogu. So that's what I had for you here. I sign out for now. See you later. Continue to subscribe because we want to hit 20,200 subscribers, and continue to subscribe, guys. Lower right bottom corner is the place to be, and let's gather those numbers. Third video of the day. That means we are left with the match day live, and then we'll be having what we call the match reaction later as this game of football gets done and dusted. But the players have arrived at Old Trafford, and we are waiting to see whether Alejandro Garnacho is part of the team squad to face Rangers tonight. Bye-bye.